everyone, it's Beetlejuice. Just want to remind y'all, if you say the vocal minority with Nick and Steve 3 times in a row, they appear. Let's give it a try. The vocal minority with Nick and Steve. The vocal minority with Nick and Steve. The vocal minority with Nick and Steve. It worked. Enjoy.
Yeah, thanks for enjoying the podcast, and thank you, Beetlejuice. Welcome to the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve. Glad to have you along for the ride.
Yeah, all right, good deal. Have you seen the new Beetlejuice? I haven't.
I have not seen the new Beetlejuice. It's something I'll probably watch. You've seen the original, though, right?
I have, of course.
My wife never has.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
My kids are huge fans of the whole Beetlejuice Broadway spectacle. I'll get to it. But anyways, welcome to the show. We got a website. It's called thevocalminority.net. We named it after the show. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that way you can remember it. You can remember exactly where to go. Hell, you could just Google the Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve, and then there we'd be.
There we would be as well. You don't even have to say it 3 times. We'll just appear on your screen. Find us on the social media stuff, too. Reddit, YouTube, TikTok, our favorites. We're on Facebook, the actual Facebook. We're on Instagram and Threads. We're on the whole Meta empire.
And Blue Sky. Let's not forget about Blue Sky. Go check us out. Interact. Comment, enjoy some videos, and call our comment line if you get a chance. Leave us a comment, good or bad. 844-48-VOCAL. Get vocal. Turn your telephone into a microphone.
That's the idea around here. 2 shows every week. The way the world's working nowadays, the first show tends to be about the politics and whatnot, because that is a large part of what we're here for, is to be the voice of the resistance, the vocal minority. Because if you didn't vote for Trump, you're in the minority. Not that he's in the majority, by the way. I keep having this argument with people, but
I keep hearing it too, dude. Well, he did win by majority. Hey, dude, he won by very tiny numbers. And that aside, he's not in the majority because you guys are leaving out that third-party vote.
Yeah, I've learned that a lot of people don't know what the word majority means. They think it means just more than. That if you got the majority of the votes, you got more than someone else. And that's not what majority means. Majority means greater than 50%. So 50.1% or more would be a majority. Trump, of course, got 49.9, which I know must just sting. That 0.2 percentage points away from being able to claim majority.
Can't believe we haven't heard a phone call of like, I need 0.2% of the votes. You know, can you find those for me? Like, I just want to be at that 50.1%.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, yes, we are the vocal minority. And on this episode, we've got sort of a potpourri of things to get to.
We've got a menagerie.
Welcome to the show.
We welcome you to the show. And let's get right into whatever you got there, Stephen.
Well, you want to talk about aliens or assholes? Which one should we go with first?
Let's talk about aliens. I'm tired of talking about assholes.
Yes, well, they'll come back up, I assure you. But
okay,
aliens, interesting stuff going on in this universe of ours. Now, if you're a loyal listener to the show, or if you viewed any of the clips on the interweb thing there, you know that I have theories about where life on planet Earth came from. You know, the pyramids, Stonehenge, things that were built a long time ago, way too advanced for civilization back then. I wonder how we were so advanced back then and didn't realize that that's what was going on. And I find it odd that humans are different than every other living thing on this planet. We are non-animals.
You seem to have a lot of faith in all these stories. You have faith, right?
Yeah, I think faith is a good word. I think there's some scientific premise to some of these things too, though, that why are humans different? Why do we need shelter and clothing? Why do we write sonnets and poems? And why do we produce music? Like, why are we different than everything else? When one thing is different than everything else, it tends to mean that thing must have different origins than all the other stuff.
I don't know where you get your info from or your belief on that we're different from everything else because, I see a lot of things in common that you see as differences.
It's common sense. I just look.
Music, stuff like that. Like we've seen animals playing music before, right?
Well, I guess in a million years, elephants will be, writing Hamilton Part 2 or something, but... No, I mean, you see, I'm not the only one to ever point this out. This was a part of the original Matrix movie when Agent Smith points out to Neo that human beings are a cancer on this planet. You are different than everything else. You do not assimilate with your environment. You move, you spread, you destroy. Why are humans different than every other animal?
Doesn't that come down to understanding, though? Because elephants do a lot of other things that we don't do. And maybe even they do some, when you bring up, like, they'll be performing Hamilton. Like, maybe they're doing shit that we don't even understand right now. And it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, we can go on this debate forever. And I like I said, I think there's some scientific basis, but I don't have any proof. These are theories. These are things I wonder about. You know, I was fascinated to find out recently. This actually came out like 9 years ago. I missed the article. There's a miniature Stonehenge in Lake Michigan. They found this thing years ago, and it didn't make much news, and I just stumbled across it. But under the water of Lake Michigan, somebody built a Stonehenge, the same type of structure, the upright pillars and the ones flat across it. And this thing is like 6,000 or 7,000 years old. It has hieroglyphics drawn on it of animals that did not exist in that area back then. Like, you know, weird things like that. You know?
The animals that are on it, did they exist only in the future or the past? I mean, were they seeing the future, or were they recalling animals that once were?
No, I mean, they could have been doing from what once was. Those animals, I mean, the one good one was some sort of woolly mammoth-looking elephant that existed at that time elsewhere on planet Earth, but we didn't have intercontinental travel back then. So if you knew of this elephant from Africa, how the hell would you get to northern Michigan, you know, and be able to draw a picture of it? You couldn't have traveled that far. Like,
it is freaky, dude.
It is. So there are mysteries. And yes, one of my theories I brought up on the show is perhaps humans are different than everything else because we're not from here. Perhaps aliens dropped us here on planet Earth eons ago, even if it was primitive humans, and then we evolved, you know, further. Because science doesn't have to be wrong. I mean, we know that humans evolved from, you know, more primitive types of humans. And so I've just always wondered, like, yeah, where did humans come from? And I had been reading, quote unquote, listening to an ebook that it came out, I think, in like the 1950s. It's called, I think, A Brief History of the World. It's by H.G. Wells. And it's basically the idiot's guide to how did humanity come to be. You know, they start all the way back to the Big Bang, and I'm up to about the time of Jesus right now.
Okay. What's the book called again?
A Brief History of the World.
Okay.
And each chapter just explores a different, like I said, going all the way back to the start. And it's not a biased book or a scientific book. It talks about religion, but only in factual that these things started happening. It doesn't weigh in on any of this stuff. It's giving you a highlight of how everything came to be. And it's a lot of stuff that obviously we've studied in school or you've read about in various books, but it's very interesting to hear it all laid out in one timeline. And the biggest thing that I didn't even realize is how many billions of years old planet Earth is. I knew it was old. I knew it was even a billion or something, but billions of years.
How many billion? Like 2 billion or 30 billion? Do you have any idea?
I want to say it was like 6 or 7 billion.
Jeez.
And nobody knows exactly, but this is all based on scientific studies and going back and looking at all this stuff. But, you know, yeah, the planet is billions of years old. And listening to the evolution that we used to be a volcanic planet. You know, I mean, the life on Earth would have been unsustainable. I mean, we were raining sulfur, and it was just a large volcano everywhere. We went through ice ages. Like, this planet went through billions of years of evolution before any living thing ever showed up.
So in essence, what you're saying, like, it's not that far off that someday Mars would be populated with people.
Well, perhaps. Here's the thing. Have you ever heard the term that we're a Goldilocks planet?
No.
So we are a Goldilocks planet, meaning it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right.
Okay.
Not every planet is probably capable of sustaining life because it's either too close to the star in their universe, the sun, or it's way too far away. But you have to imagine there's other galaxies that would also have a Goldilocks planet. You know, we're the third rock from the sun, and we're just warm enough, we're just cold enough, you know, we're just right to sustain life.
Okay.
But as I'm listening to this book, I couldn't get over the question that they sort of just skip over, that, a volcanic planet, ice ages, and then early microbiotic life forms start to form, like single cell, organisms form into two cell and they split. And, aquatic life probably formed first. They were getting oxygen through the water, and then they go to the land, and they were able to keep wet lungs to breathe. Like, this is the process of evolution that we've all learned about, right?
Right.
But the question is, how did we go from the volcanic ice age to even a single cell organism? Where did that building block of life come from?
From God. I mean,
right. And does the biblical timeline match up with this planet being billions of years old by any means?
Here's one question for you, and I mean this in all sincerity. Like, do you really think that we have the capabilities to know that this planet, this Goldilocks planet, is billions of years old? How do we even comprehend that, first of all? Billions of years old? Like, how is that proven?
Science. Listen, I want the scientists to explain the answers to you. And like I said, I'm reading a brief history of the world, not any overly in-depth details of it.
Sure.
But I mean, scientists have been studying this stuff forever. And part of it is going back through, layers on our own Earth of finding fossils and finding how far back do you have to go before there's no sign of life whatsoever. And seeing evidence of volcanic periods, of ice age periods, and carbon testing things. I mean, like I said, there's no exact answer. It started exactly 6.3 billion years ago.
Sure.
It has to have been billions of years old. And these are scientifically peer-reviewed things. So it's certainly more correct than, 2,000 years ago, we just sort of poofed into existence. And here we all are.
Yeah, it's interesting, dude. I would love to read the book. When you read the book, are you sober or are you getting stony and enjoying some of this? And that's the real question.
Depends what time of the day it is, I guess. I mean, maybe some of it's been sober, but it's when I'm driving around. It's an ebook, so I'm listening to it, and the chapters are short. It's pretty easy to absorb, I will say. So it's on Spotify. You've got it, so you can listen to it.
Okay, I'll start.
So anyways, the point of all of this is I have wondered, A, did humans get dropped here from outer space? And B, how did those initial building blocks of life just show up on planet Earth? How'd we go from volcanic ice ages to poof, there's something here that life could evolve from? And I think we now have the answer. And I'm a little bit right. Not entirely right, but it looks like I'm a little bit right.
Oh, what do you mean we now have the answer? That aliens dropped us here?
Well, that the building blocks of life came from the cosmos, that it is extraterrestrial in nature, meaning it didn't originate on this planet. So, NASA, in fresh new asteroid samples taken out there in space, by the way, this is the big new scientific discovery. We have studied asteroids that have hit the Earth before, but those have traveled all the distance. They've gone through our atmosphere. Things have burned off. It impacts. Everything blows up. So for the first time ever, NASA was able to analyze an actual asteroid still out there floating around the cosmos. And they've discovered the key building blocks of life are on that asteroid, and presumably would have been on many other asteroids over those billions of years that have been smashing into planets left and right. But what happens when one of those asteroids containing the building blocks for life smashes into a Goldilocks planet?
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. You showed me this article, and it's hard to comprehend it all for me anyway. Maybe it's not so much for you, but when you talk about like NASA, they found the building blocks for life on this asteroid. I can't even comprehend that, dude. I can't even comprehend how they would know this is a building block of life. This is a building block of life. Like, what? We can't even get a COVID test to work right every time.
Well, let me read a little of this, and that'll answer some of your questions, I guess. So, the highlights first. A NASA spacecraft brought samples from the asteroid Bennu back to Earth about a year ago, and they've been analyzing it. The first in-depth analysis of that material had been revealed to contain organic material, including the so-called building blocks of life. The results bolster the theory that asteroids that crashed into Earth may have been what delivered those first little sparks of life. So, in samples taken from a distant asteroid, scientists have discovered a host of organic molecules, including the building blocks of life. The surprising findings suggest that the chemical ingredients necessary for life may have been widespread across the early solar system. NASA's OSIRIS spacecraft, which launched in 2016, scooped up bits of dust, soil, and rocks from the asteroid Bennu and then brought them back to Earth about a year ago. The 4.5 billion year old asteroid is thought to have formed in the first 10 million years of the solar system's existence. So there's part of the tracing your timeline right there.
But and even that blows my mind, dude. I can't comprehend how we can age the Earth to billions of years old. How do we know that asteroid's 4.5 billion years old?
You check its ID. I don't know.
I mean, some of this stuff has to be made up and guessed.
Oh, come on. Don't start doubting science. I mean,
No, I'm
carbon
not.
testing is a real thing.
Of course it is, but you're doing that on this asteroid?
Well, brought back to Earth, yes. They're running all their tests on here.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm not doubting science, by the way. I'm just letting you know, like, I don't understand science, dude. I don't know how we're capable of this shit.
Well, that's fair. So a little more detailed answer here. An analysis of the collected asteroid material published this past week in the journal Nature indicates that the samples included thousands of organic compounds and 14 of the 20 amino acids that life on Earth uses to form proteins. The sample also contained 4 nucleobases, the main components of our DNA and RNA, which store and transmit genetic blueprints within our cells. So again, these are the building blocks of life, not life itself. And they pointed out, like, hey, we're not saying we found aliens on this asteroid.
Right.
We're saying we found the building blocks of life, that if it crashed on a Goldilocks planet and evolution then kicked in, that this is where those essential raw elements came from.
To simplify those terms, dude, that it is the perfect situation at the perfect time to create life.
Yes. So that makes you wonder, though, first of all, where did these building blocks of life come from? Did they come from another planet? This asteroid broke off a larger body. That's what an asteroid is.
Okay.
So did it break off a moon, a planet, a larger asteroid? Are these genetic materials just omnipresent in the universe? Or did they start somewhere? And over these billions of years, are you really thinking that these asteroids never hit another Goldilocks planet? Could it not? It bolsters the claim that probably life does exist elsewhere in the universe, either now or, 2 billion years ago, and it's way come and gone. But again, that's the infinity we're looking at, billions of years. Dude, the founding fathers were here in America about 200-something years ago. We're talking about 2 billion years ago.
Your mind can't even fathom that, dude. I mean, really, you can't. It's incredible. We broke down what a billion was like when you think about a certain number of million and then billion. It's like went from 30 days to 3,000 years. Like a billion is a huge difference. And to think about 400 billion. My other question is, when this asteroid obviously hit something and took these building blocks of life and landed on this Goldilocks planet, it could have run into many different planets. It could have grabbed building blocks of life from several different things that it hit. I mean, and it ended up here. And that is unbelievable. If that is true, if it happened that way, to think that we are alone here is now something you could never think again. Yeah. Like there's other life out there.
Yeah. Are we truly the only planet that this kind of stuff ever landed down on and had the time to evolve? Like it seems stupid and arrogant to think that that would be the case. And a quote from one of these scientists, he said, "The bottom line is we have a higher confidence that the organic material we're seeing in these samples are extraterrestrial and not contamination. We can trust these results." So, it opens up a Pandora's box of questions that may take another lifetime and more to even start to get to the bottom of.
Yeah. I mean, we'll never know. I would think that we'll never know. It's that far away. Do you ever, when you're listening to this and you are stoned or even just really having a great time with your imagination, do you wonder what that life must look like on other planets? I mean, not only physically do they look like us, but their patterns of what they do. Do they work? Do they have a government? Do they have taxes? Like, I mean, it'd be so interesting to see what you do with this. How far did we got it wrong, you know?
I do wonder, is it like the Star Wars cantina where life on other planets is just a variety of things? Or would all humanoids or whatever evolve to be somewhat similar to us? And yeah, I definitely ponder all this stuff. And again, pointing out Star Wars, everyone seems to forget the beginning of the movie, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You think it's futuristic, but that happened a long time ago. Yeah. Which again, over the course of billions of years, think of how many timelines of whatever form of humanity could have come and gone. And we, in a blink of an eye to us, and there's no proof of it. Because again, it was 2 billion years ago, 5 billion years ago.
Right.
Jesus was walking around 2,000 years ago. And that certainly seems like a long freaking time ago.
Yes, dude. And to think about the fact that we've devolved, it's a hard concept to grasp onto for me.
Yeah.
But it looks like that it's a definite possibility.
Yeah. So, all right. So my theory that we were just dropped here as humans by aliens, okay, maybe I overstated it. But the premise was correct, that we sort of dropped onto this planet from the cosmos, and that's where evolution kicked into high gear. And it answers that question of how did we go from this steaming volcanic planet to somehow the building blocks of life were just here. Makes total sense if it would have smashed down from the cosmos.
You're a scholar. Do you think you're brilliant? I mean, do you think you're brilliant for getting this right? I mean,
no, I definitely don't think I'm brilliant, but I think maybe sometimes I look at things a little differently than other people do. And part of that is visiting Stonehenge. I got my picture of Stonehenge right there. I start to zoom out and I start to wonder if, we're a little speck. Maybe we're viewing things a little too focused, a little too close up. So
yeah, we do look at things myopically, and we are also very arrogant, as a people, just to think that, hey, we created all this, this could be very subpar to what used to be, know.
And again, crazy. Scientifically, this makes way more sense than just the universe blipping into existence someday, And the other funny thing about this book I'm, reading, listening to or whatever, is, like I said, they outline this whole timeline very kind of factually, and we're just getting into the, the Hebrew Bible and the Jews in the Middle East and the forming of Christianity, and Jesus is about to pop on the scene. And I wonder, if I told you, Nick, that there was an era in our evolution that Lord of the Rings was basically correct, that we had wizards and elves and magical creatures and all of these things on planet Earth. Yeah. You would say that's preposterous, right?
Maybe not now. This shit's so batshit crazy that I believe anything right now.
Right. But in order to believe the Bible and the origins of Christianity, you have to believe that there was just this era in humanity where magic existed. The Messiah came down from the heavens and was walking on water, and the burning bush was talking. Like, nowhere in this factual outlining of history do I see a little era where magic existed.
Yeah, but it's 4 billion years now, we find out, to look back on. There's a lot. You'll never get to it all, dude.
Well, but you can't have it both ways, because the Bible does not think we're 4 billion years old. So.
And the Bible has been, it's a game of I look at the Bible as a game of telephone. Okay, this is just past and past and past and interpretations. So who knows? I mean, somebody could have got this timeline right. Someone left off a zero,
Listen, what you just said is why I am skeptical of the Bible and organized religion in general. That the Hebrew Bible that I was, reading about there was written in those days based on other stories that had been just circulating this unruly planet of uncivilized masses. And some human started to compile these things into a book that he thought would serve a purpose of organizing everyone and giving you something to believe in, giving you a reason to follow the laws. And then that evolved into Christianity, into Catholicism. Like, humans have tainted those stories over and over and over. So how can I have any validity in it? It's not like God popped down, wrote the book, and that's all we've ever read.
Listen, as somebody who grew up a cradle Catholic, okay, I was Catholic since birth, basically. My views on religion have evolved over the course of my life and what they mean to me and what I think it looks like. And as with anything else, we talk about being progressives, like the church has held on to these beliefs and have not been malleable with it. We're not moving. This is what happened. And if we cannot continue to look at things and say, oh, we got that wrong, we're moving forward, we're taking it in this direction, then I think that it's outdated. Listen, religion is different to every person that celebrates it, believes in it. But as you and I have discussed, there is one thing you can understand in this world, and that is that there is an energy in this world that seems to move, and it seems to be a part of all of us. And if you focus that energy somewhere in a positive light, I do believe that when I say, hey, I'm thinking about you, Steve, and I actually am thinking good thoughts and hoping things work out for you, like I do believe that hits you. And if you want to call that religion and prayer, you could do that. But at the end of the day, we're all kind of doing the same thing anyway.
Yeah. I believe in the energy of the universe, as you're well aware. And I can also see how ancient primitive cultures would be picking on that too and want to articulate it somehow.
Sure.
Does it also not ever seem weird to you that all religion is geographically based? We all used to be on our own little continents, and every continent came up with their own religion.
Yeah.
Christianity in one part, Judaism in another, Buddhists, Native American religions, like everyone on their isolated continents, all for some reason came up with their own religions.
Yes.
And maybe some of the reasons were corrupt as far as trying to control the masses, or maybe, like you said, they were just dialed into something and they were trying to find a way to put words to what they were feeling and tying with stories they've heard from the elders and all this stuff. I mean,
it's how it was articulated, right?
Yes. And here's what I just wish a lot of religious people would do, kind of like what I do with Marvel. Everyone knows I'm a big fan of superheroes and whatnot. I think there are infinite amounts of wisdom in the stories that are told in comic books. And, great power comes great responsibility, tragedy being turned into somebody wanting to do heroic things, these mythical creatures that are a little bit bigger and better than all of us, that give us normal humans something to believe in. I have pictures on my wall. I have a shrine of Marvel things, just like people do with religion. But the difference is I can zoom out enough to go, I know Spider-Man's not real, but I can respect the teachings of Spider-Man. But religion, no one will ever admit that it's not really real. I just like the stories and I like the morals it's teaching. So I just wish religion would acknowledge, okay, it's not real, but we can still worship the principles and worship the characters. And I can have a shrine in my house and not be a crazy person.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. I understand it. I think the difference being of why religion feels like they can't do that is because once you lose the center of that story, God, and that he is something far greater than we could ever be, you lose the whole religion. I mean, it collapses, right?
Yeah, but why does it have to be built on that devout belief? Why can't there be a little wiggle room there that the ancient teachings may have come from humans, but they're still full of wisdom?
And maybe, that's what I mean when I say that religion is not malleable. Like, it can't be moved. It never evolves. It never changes. And maybe it should. Even when we see things happen with the Pope and when he talks about, people that get married that are gay is fine. Like, that is a huge change in religion, but it has taken so long. And if that happened in our lifetime, think about what's happened over the last 2,000 years since it started, So who knows, dude?
I wish it was a little more malleable. That's my point.
Yeah.
If I was running around saying, Spider-Man's real, everyone, I found it in a book, you would all be like, dude, you're crazy. But this is the thing about religion. It's gone so many generations that it's just been accepted. No one even questions it anymore, but obviously it's a little crazy.
Oh, I don't think that nobody questions it as true at all. Like, I think people are questioning it now more today than ever in my lifetime, and at least the last few hundred years, you know.
Well, I think the more advanced of a society we become, the more obvious to some elements that maybe some of these stories are kind of garbage.
Sure.
Or maybe they're fairy tale.
Yeah.
So.
Or we just got them wrong.
Not said.
Oh,
Exactly.
Stanley.
Oh, hey, there's God right there in my universe.
Yes.
Stanley, everybody.
Hey, dude, you talked about how funny it was, you know, that in the beginning of religious times, you know, we're all on different continents creating our own religions. Have you ever looked at the world? I think there is a part of the population who's able to do this and some who are not. But when we think about immigrants in this country, if you're MAGA and I say immigrant to you, it's obviously bad. You know, I think that they can see some immigrants, like Elon Musk is a great immigrant. First of all, he's white. Second of all, you know, he's smart and his billions of dollars.
Yeah,
right?
Stop at the first point. That's all they needed to do.
Yeah, okay,
He's white.
He's white. Yeah. But, you know, it is crazy for me to think that we have created these borders within our world of like, you can't come over that line.
Oh, sure.
I mean, and we're still people, right? Well, we're seeing all the stuff happen with Trump right now and his mass deportations and stuff like that. There is somebody getting in trouble for promoting some of this mass deportation, and I always love to see it when someone's taken down. I'm going to tell you a little story about a Texas teacher. His name is Jason Buchanan. He was doxxed after inviting ICE to raid his schools over immigrant students. Okay.
Yeah. Most schools right now are dealing with the reality of how do I keep ICE out? You know, what documentation are they required to show or whatever? How do I protect my students? And yes, this asshole teacher went the other way, like, come on down. I got a bunch of migrant kids here you can come take.
He goes on to tell them, you know, like, I got a ton of them, and 98% of them don't speak English. You know, they have to use their phone to translate stuff. Like, I got a ton of them. And gave the address, the school, everything else. Well, Jason Buchanan has been doxxed, which is fantastic. Like, people outed him right away. One Twitter writer writes, gotta love the Twitterverse when it does good. It does good when it doxes Jason Buchanan. These people are coming out and saying, like, you're a bastard, dude. We have something in common with an article we were reading over the weekend about another person talking about immigrant children. And you know what? If you're going to talk about the mass deportations and you want to talk about illegal citizens in our country, it's one thing. We can have the conversation, hopefully in a respectful, intelligent way. But when you start talking about kids that were born here and be like, come on down, come and take them. I got a ton in my school. Yeah. Like, you're a fucking asshole, dude.
Yeah. It is one thing to be mega. It's one thing to be like, I'm okay with these deportations or whatever. But when you take it to a dehumanizing level, I do think you deserve to be publicly called out, especially if you're not willing to back down and you're some sort of prominent person in the community, or in this case, a business owner. Because, yeah, a bit of a controversy blew up here over the weekend in my neighborhood of Lake Tahoe on the border of California and Nevada. And it's a disgusting story that Nick and I both feel deserves some attention, because I really feel that this story needs to go national. And I don't know if it's going to or not, but whether it's local media or people like us, like, I really feel like we should put a spotlight on this particular story.
Well, 100%. I mean, this is one of those things that people need to hear. And unfortunately, there's going to be a small part of the population, hopefully, that's like, yeah, right on. But the majority, hopefully in this case, will look and say, this is trash, dude. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, this is the problem with the era we're in, where some people will probably rally around this company because he's coming out like ultra mega. So the mega types will probably start, buying this product left and right. But hopefully the free market kicks into place, and when they start losing distributors and whatnot, like, maybe it'll actually affect this company, but there's no guarantee anymore of this stuff. When you politicize your company, you're going to lose a certain clientele, but maybe you offset it on the other side. I don't know. Tesla sales are down, so it's not working out well for Musk.
Well, let's talk about this specific company because hopefully it can get taken down a notch.
Here's the deal. This company is called Tahoe Heartbeat, and they've expanded their brand. I think they're now mainly also just known as the Heartbeat brand. So maybe you've seen these things around town or around the country, because this started in Lake Tahoe, this company, I'm going to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And I have my Heartbeat hat right here because I'm a Tahoe local, and I will tell you, everybody in Lake Tahoe has these hats, or they make hoodies, T-shirts now. I mean, our hospitals have the logo on their scrubs. Our schools buy this material for fundraising efforts. The Tahoe Heartbeat brand has become omnipresent in Lake Tahoe. And because we're an international destination, it started to spread because people come here and they see the locals wearing it. It's in almost all the stores around here. So, yeah, this brand, really started to pick up some steam. I think you were even looking for a Heartbeat hat, right?
Yeah, and we need to say that the message and branding behind this company and the Tahoe Heartbeat. Obviously, Steve held up the hat, but if you're not watching the podcast, it has the heartbeat that you would see on an EKG or a heart rhythm machine, and then in the middle of it, it's the outline of Lake Tahoe. So, like, that's the heartbeat of the community is kind of what it represents, and I think some of their mottos are like all happiness all the time, or love for everything. Right. So it's supposed to be unifying type thing that locals can wear. And yeah, they did one for Seattle, and instead of Lake Tahoe's outline, there was, I think, the Space Needle in the middle of it. Yeah. So they do them for a ton of different communities.
Yeah, and their website has gotten very huge. They sell on Amazon. I mean, you can find them anywhere. And so now, like I said, it's the Heartbeat brand. So you can get the Texas Heartbeats, the Michigan Heartbeats, whatever. It's expanded greatly. And this community was very supportive of them and very proud that the Heartbeat brand had broken outside of the Lake Tahoe area. And it was it's a local, guy with his, his family and crew that started this. And yeah, I've had this hat for 5 years. I mean, that's how long. And like I said, I wasn't even like first on the trend. So it had been around for a few years before. And literally, I was telling you, Kennedy and I went up to hike at Tahoe like 2 weeks ago. And I told her, like, got to put my Heartbeat hat on. It's what all the cool kids at Tahoe wear. And it is true. Everyone's got it. So this community was blown over when the owner of the Tahoe Heartbeat company made a comment on a social media post around here that somebody screenshotted and started to circulate. And again, it's one thing to be MAGA. It's one thing to even say we need immigration reform. It's one thing to even say I'm all in favor of these immigration crackdowns. But this guy, the owner of a business that has greatly expanded, went to the extreme. He went to the dehumanizing side of things.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
Right. So Tahoe Heartbeat is the company, Heartbeat brand, and Parker Alexander. I'm not going to dox him as far as giving you his home address or anything, but that's his name, Parker Alexander. And he posted on Facebook in our community on South Tahoe Now. It's a local news organization, and they had done some article about the immigration issue that apparently sparked this comment that he made. I'm going to start to read it. I don't know if I want to read this entire thing, but I think the audience has to understand that this is not just somebody who's being MAGA. They took it to the extreme, right?
Yeah, there's a few key words and key phrases in there that I think we can kind of read around those to get our point out.
Yeah. So, all right. So his comment starts off. Since when is it the school's obligation to, quote, make kids feel safe at school when their parents are criminals? Now, first of all, let's not get into the legalities of being an undocumented immigrant. Let's just say your parents are actual criminals. Are you telling me their children don't deserve to feel safe at school because of what the parents have done?
Yeah, if you're a criminal and your kid's at school, like if there's a school shooting, do they not protect your kid? Okay, your dad's a criminal, dude.
Right. I mean, all sorts of parents are incarcerated in this country. Obviously, their kids should still be made to feel safe at school. Sure. The sins of the father should not be passed to the son, right?
Yes, exactly.
So he goes on. He says, sure, they should feel safe. That's an inherent part of schooling these days. But more so, they should be told why they are part of the bigger issue. When a kid is in danger at home, they don't make the kid feel any kind of safe. They take them from the parents. They put them in foster care, and feeling safe is not the priority. Making them safe is the priority without saying it. Well, when illegals have children in our school system, our systems inherently become less safe. That's just the reality. We don't owe these children anything. Yes, we should be kind and compassionate, which is ironic given everything else I'll say here. But we should absolutely explain to each child that your parents are criminals here illegally, and that is what's going to happen. We're done turning a blind eye as a country. Is it until an illegal shoots up a school and an illegal doesn't toilet paper your house, rather lights it on fire, or an illegal murders your child in class, then how will you react? So first of all, one of the common things everyone's saying is, how the hell are you connecting school shootings to immigrants? And if your notion is that if an illegal immigrant shoots up a school, obviously they're all bad people, when the vast, vast, vast majority of school shootings are committed by white males.
He's obviously listening to King Trump talk about, like, these people that are coming over the border, they're rapists, they're clearing out their insane asylums. He's listening to that propaganda and immediately assuming that immigrants equal bad.
Yes, which is a total trope. A percentage of every demographic will have bad people in it, including white men, including plumbers, whatever it is. So, yes, his first, over-the-top dehumanizing thing is somehow trying to connect illegal immigrants' children to school shootings, and that when they do these things, then all of you people will see that we should have deported them, glossing over the fact that by that logic, we should be deporting all white parents, apparently. So he goes on. The issue is very real, and these illegal. This is the line that pisses me off. The issue is very real, and these illegally bred children will grow up with the influence of their criminal parents. Illegally bred children. That is dehumanizing. That is looking at them like they are livestock or something. And if you're a moral person, let alone a religious person, how can you say that the creation of life, the thing that we all want our heterosexual married couples to be doing, to have sex only for procreation, you're saying that these human beings were illegally bred like they're wild dogs?
You cannot write something like that without thinking about the fact that that's how he really feels, dude. I mean, there's no misunderstanding that. You're exactly right. That he is dehumanizing them, illegally bred, and you are putting the sins of your mother and father onto these children, who I thought were innocent. We needed to protect children, the unborn. We need to protect the unborn, but not the illegally bred. Right. And what does it mean, illegally bred? It wasn't illegal to become pregnant and make a baby. That wasn't illegal.
No, that's apparently what God wants us to be doing with our fun parts. And I mean, this really sounds like Nazi rhetoric. Illegally bred children by these criminal parents. He goes on to say that we have to cut the dragon's head off at the head. The kids also have to go with compassion, with care, with kindness, but they have to go as well. Yes, it's sad. Yes, it's not ideal, but it's real. It's a security threat, and it's criminals from the top. If their parents weren't criminals, they wouldn't be here in the first place. That's all. It's not complicated. Stop with your soft-ass bullshit. You're a criminal. You're prosecuted. You're a descendant of a criminal. You are to be managed. Again, like your livestock or cattle, you are to be managed because you are an illegally bred human from criminal parents who shouldn't be in this country.
This is a sick person. This is a very sick person, dude. That, I mean, obviously, fuck Tahoe heartbeat, dude. I want it to fail, obviously, but there needs to be some accountability for a person like this. And again, I'm not saying go hurt the guy or anything, but like, he needs a lot of therapy. I mean, this is a crazy person talking.
Yeah. Now, one may think that if you ranted on these statements and you think, well, I did it in the comment section of someone else's page, like I wasn't publicly speaking on behalf of my company, like when you see this blowback, because this thing exploded over the weekend in Tahoe. I mean, this thing got hundreds of shares, all sorts of media were tagged in it, all of the distributors that sell these products were tagged in it. You would think if you're a responsible business owner that has employees, you have investors, like you would think that you would step up publicly and say something to the effect of like, whoa, maybe I misspoke. Like, in other words, maybe you would dial it back a notch, or if you are a smart person, you would just apologize and shut the fuck up because, again, you've got a company and your family's livelihood. You're in a small, tightly knit community and everyone sees your name. Everyone knows who you are, Mr. Parker Alex. No, I don't want to say the wrong name. Yeah, Parker Alexander. You would think that you would come back and either dial it back or apologize. But this motherfucker has doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down. He is responding to these comments. He's attacking people, and he keeps using the phrase, my multi-million-dollar company will not suffer because of you woke people. Every comment, he uses the phrase, my multi-million-dollar company, which bullshit. As we've learned from Shark Tank and 100 other places, like you may have millions of dollars in purchase orders out there, but you don't have multi-millions of dollars sitting in your account. And you're an up-and-coming brand that is only worth what its image and reputation is. So you're arrogant enough to think that this won't affect you. You don't think you should apologize. You do now deserve to suffer for being a fucking heartless idiot.
Yes, dude. This is your whole company is based off the fact that it's positivity and goodness. Like there's no coming back from this if you are figured out in big numbers. And for you to double down and talk about your multi-million-dollar company and that it won't suffer. I think he made some comment like, since I made my comments, I've gotten $10,000 worth of orders. Hopefully, dude, $10,000 is nothing to your multi-million-dollar company, and you'll be getting a lot more cancellations because what you said, dude, in my opinion, unless I see some work done, is unforgivable.
No, absolutely. Like we said, maybe some mega types will rally behind him. And I don't for a second believe that somebody, while this was freshly blowing up, placed a $10,000 order. This is a company that has existed for 6-7 years. So, of course, orders are coming and going. But purchase orders are what companies like this rely on, where a grocery store that sells these is going to say, give us, $10,000 worth of these things. We'll put them on our shelves. And, this community has got the pitchforks out for this man. And if he doesn't think it's going to ripple the same way his early success rippled from Lake Tahoe, he's freaking delusional. And I will tell you, like my son showed up at school this morning and he sent me a screenshot. I'll just read it. This was posted online this morning. Our South Tahoe High School Booster Club is built on the belief that strong communities thrive when we support one another. We recently became aware of offensive and hurtful comments made by Tahoe Heartbeat, the vendor from whom we purchased hats for a recent fundraising effort. We want to be unequivocally clear. The Booster Club does not condone or agree with these statements in any way. Now, I don't know if they're going to burn the hats or whatever they have right now, but obviously they're not ordering again. This guy's name has become mud in this community. I have seen multiple retail stores saying that they will no longer carry it. People are reaching out to the big suppliers and vendors, and I think it's justified. Again, if the guy had backed off or made any sort of apology, I would say maybe let's dial it down. But he is doubling and tripling down on dehumanizing hatred and flaunting it, giving the middle finger to everyone and claiming that his multi-million-dollar brand will be just fine despite you woke people that think I'm racist for saying blatantly racist things.
He's basically saying he's untouchable, and a message to all who think that not wanting to dehumanize people is being woke. F you. You've had a problem with the word woke for a long time, and we haven't really understood why. But when you're saying our woke mindset, that we don't want to put up and support a person who is talking about children like this, like you're just fighting to fight. This is not being woke. This is called being human, and it's called, loving your sisters, brothers, and others. Okay.
Yes. I want to, again, be very clear that when it comes to any company in America, that if you're MAGA or you're even just, like I'm in favor of his immigration policies, like that is one thing. But what the Tahoe Heartbeat Company has done is take it to a dehumanizing level, and they have doubled and tripled down on it. So I absolutely think they deserve to have people be destroying their products and saying they don't want to support it, and to be reaching out to the vendors to say, like, just so you know, you're supporting a product owned by a man who's making overtly racist, dehumanizing comments. And a bunch of pictures are circulating of people throwing their hats in the garbage, and the guy's just laughing at them as if he doesn't care because, like you said, he feels he's bulletproof.
Yeah. How do we justify the fact that when we see people throwing away or burning products that they've already purchased, what is the justification for that? In my opinion, it is the fact that I no longer am promoting your brand by wearing it out in public. And especially you, dude, someone who's somewhat prominent in your community. Like, there's no excuse for you to ever have that brand on your body again and say, because now you're saying you believe in it and you believe in what he believes in.
Absolutely. My daughter in Chicago got wind of this online and immediately said, like, I wear my Heartbeat hoodie around Chicago all the time because I thought I was proudly representing the Tahoe Heartbeat and my Tahoe community. Well, I guess yesterday was the last time I'm ever wearing that thing again, because no, when you walk around now, you are now tacitly endorsing this sort of garbage. There's a million hats out there. There's a million products. So the arrogance that this guy is displaying to think that it will have zero effect on him is wrong. And I'm not saying that if I destroy my hat, that somehow I'm damaging him financially, because I already paid for the hat, obviously. But I'm letting it be known publicly that I don't want to be part of this garbage. And I would encourage you not to be part of this garbage.
Yes, we would definitely encourage that.
So, yes, screw the Tahoe Heartbeat Company for dehumanizing children, for making overtly racist statements. And after me owning this hat for, 5 years now, there you go. Right through the heartbeat of the Tahoe Heartbeat brand. Screw this company, screw this hat, and screw anybody this thing's well built. And screw anybody who wants to continue to endorse this kind of crap. I will not be seen with, like you said, my limited notoriety in the Tahoe Basin of walking around wearing this crap anymore. I was literally just at a store a week ago and I thought, boy, my hat's getting kind of old. Maybe I should buy a new one. Thank God I didn't, because fuck Tahoe Heartbeat and their dehumanizing racist bullshit, saying that children are being illegally bred by their criminal parents, equating them to school shooters. So I will do my small part of this and say, screw Tahoe Heartbeat. I'm not wearing your hat ever again. And I hope that this does some good. I hope that one other person burns it or doesn't buy it. And I hope that some retailer eventually gets wind of what's going on here and says, we got a million hats we could sell in our store. We don't need to tacitly endorse racist, dehumanizing garbage directed towards children that are supposed to be innocent.
Yes. We on this program love Tahoe too much to let anyone in this country, let alone world, think that this is the way the majority of Tahoenians think. In fact, it's just the opposite. So we're embarrassed to have this guy in the community. And we won't support him here anymore. And we recommend, hey, if you got a spare second, I mean, there's calls you can make. I've been leaving reviews on all of his social media pages, letting him know and people know what a douchebag he is. Yeah. I'm trying to hurt you on Amazon, Parker. I'm leaving reviews, and I'm telling exactly how you feel. I'm just spreading your word.
Yeah, exactly. Parker Alexander, owner of the Heartbeat brand, Tahoe Heartbeat. And I'll tell you, I think they shut off the reviews on Amazon, because I went on there last to add my own review, and there's no reviews on their page anymore. Zero listed.
Wow. Yeah. Well,
So they must have some option to go in there and shut down reviews because they were getting flooded. You made a hilarious one, and everyone's posting around here their reviews. I was going to go on and try to do an instant, just like the hat doesn't fit well, like, some valid, like, not just he's a racist asshole. Like, I won't buy a product when someone says like it doesn't fit right, it rubs, the ink comes off. Like that was the review I was going to leave.
The hat gave me lice. I don't know where they're keeping this shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, hopefully this will start spreading, and we're definitely going to put some of clips talking about this up on our social media. So hopefully, it'll gain a little speed, and this guy will be screwed.
Indeed. So yeah, we will post. I'll post the original screenshots of his comments so everyone can read them for themselves. But yeah, the Heartbeat brand has started to spread nationally. So we would encourage anyone watching this kind of stuff on social media to help spread the word that the Heartbeat brand, ironically, has become very heartless and does not deserve to have your business.
Bam. All right. Well, screw you, Parker.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Exactly. I do have one brief thing I can share if you don't have anything.
Oh, please, dude.
Okay. Everyone's looking to make a little side money in this world. Maybe Parker there will soon be looking to make some side money somehow. Are you aware of the fact? Okay, so ever since this TikTok ban came up, TikTok got reinstituted as far as the servers were turned back on. But as of now, you cannot download the TikTok app in either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It's still not available.
Right. Yeah, I did know that.
So a bunch of people, some of my friends' kids, they weren't real up on the news. So when that weekend happened a few weeks back where TikTok went away for 12 hours or whatever it was, a whole bunch of people assumed that TikTok was dead and gone. So they deleted their accounts and they deleted TikTok off of their phone.
Right. Yeah. Oops.
Right. And now they've realized, like, oh, crap, TikTok's back. Let me reinstall TikTok so I can be part of the fun. But they've come to realize quickly that it's not available currently in any of the app stores. So, oh, crap, how do I get TikTok back? Well, the answer is you don't. But something fascinating is going on with the used market for iPhones and tablets. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Like currently on eBay, I'm reading from an article here, you'll likely be able to find an iPhone selling for under $1,000. It's on the used market. Yeah. For example, an iPhone 14 Pro just sold on eBay recently for $540. But a similar iPhone 14 Plus model that has TikTok still installed was priced at $10,000. The low bid was at the time this article was published was at $4,000. Somebody is willing to pay at least $4,000. That would be multiple times what it's worth without TikTok.
It's funny because I saw that and I thought to myself, is that a one-off? Because I've also heard of like people are going into pawn shops now trying to, ask for $2,000 or whatever. And they're being denied because hopefully you'll be able to download TikTok again. Like if this all gets actually sorted out and, you'll be able to go into the app store and get it again. So I don't know if you should be spending $4,000 on a freaking TikTok app, basically.
Well, I mean, first of all, it tells me how insanely addicted you are to TikTok if you think that that price justifies getting the app back. Now, if I was an owner-operator of a pawn shop or a secondhand store in a localized thing, I would not put that kind of money out to risk it either. But obviously, eBay is a global thing, but certainly a national thing. So would a one-off store be smart to put that price up there? No. But if you put it out to an international market, could you find a few hundred people that have apparently got some money and are petty and into TikTok enough that they would spend that? I mean, we're seeing it. I don't know if that phone ended up at $10,000, but $4,000, it's worth what someone will pay.
Yeah, right.